Hot damn hot water, hot shower, boom, boom. Alright, y'all, let's talk about this Chance album.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B Kid. I'm back again with another review for y'all. On today's video, I'm doing a review for Chance the Rapper's new album, The Big Day. This is Chance the Rapper's debut album. He released it on July 26, 2019 on his own label, Chance the Rapper LLC. Shout out to my guy on the independent grind. We all know Chance the Rapper's had plenty of projects before, plenty of mixtape, but this is his first like actual official like legit debut album, which is still bullshit, but you know it technically is. So this is probably one of the most interesting projects of the year to me in terms of how it was rolled out, how it was presented, because like I said, Chance the Rapper's had a lot of hype around him for the past few years, ever since he won 3 Grammys a few years ago. Been releasing acclaim mixtape after acclaim mixtape this whole decade, but you know, leading up to his debut album, there's been so much hype around him and this project, and it's kind of interesting because there was not really a lot of information around it. Like it was like a semi-surprise release because it just kind of came out like him and his team. I think he announced it in July, but you know, obviously the album was released in July, so I'm kind of torn about how I feel about that, because I feel like Chance the Rapper is a big enough name, he has enough clout around his name and his music to have done like a semi-surprise release and still be able to do like good numbers and like have people ready to hear the product. But I also feel like, I wonder in the alternate universe if this album would have been received a lot better in terms of like the rollout and just like the album itself, if like Chance and his team actually had been smarter about like promoting the album like way more in advance, as opposed to just like kind of putting it out in July after quickly announcing it. But I mean, like I said, Chance is a big enough of a name where he can still do that. So you know, maybe I'm torn. But yeah, man. So on this album, this is the official debut album, it's like 22 tracks. He has mad features on it, but he's working with his usual producers and usual songwriters, so it's his usual sound, a lot of gospel influences, a lot of house influences as always. But yeah, man, let's get into this review. I'm gonna do a track by track breakdown like I always do with all my reviews, and then at the end I'm gonna talk about my general thoughts about the album. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Chance the Rapper, The Big Day review. Y'all ready? Let's go. Alright, y'all, first up was the track All Day Long featuring John Legend. This was the intro for the album. I love this record. I love like the very like jubilant and like triumphant feeling on this song. Also the production on this song was crazy too, and John Legend's voice was perfect for this track, so I really loved it. I also love like the gospelish breakdown at the end, so it was a great intro for the album. I love this track. Next up is the track Do You Remember featuring Death Cab for Cutie, who I think was a like 2000s like pop rock band if I remember correctly. Shout out to them. Oh yeah, Do You Remember? Oh, shout out to Earth, Wind & Fire, man. September still goes in. Do you remember? But yeah, back to this track. This track was cool to me. I liked him. I really appreciated him like illustrating his feelings on like his recent come up and like his new marriage and stuff like that. And I really like the vocal on it. Shout out to the band, and also like the message on the hook about like living life how we used to live it when we were kids in the summer, and like still keeping that type of like energy and mentality in our adult lives now. So I love that concept. I love that idea. But I think what brought down the song for me was like the flow on the verses. I feel like Chance's flow on the verses was like kind of whack. So I feel like that kind of brought it down a little bit. But for what it was a really cool track. So I appreciate it. Next up is the track Eternal featuring Shmino. This is a really cool track. I love the bounce on this one. This was a track about like, you know, keeping love eternal. So at first the whole like rhyme scheme and like idea about like the side chick and the side nigga and like how they don't stack up to me, at first it threw me off. I was like, this is not random, but then it made sense when I realized what the song was talking about. Really cool song. I think it's a really cute message, and I really feel like I said, the whole side nigga side chick like rhyme scheme and that whole idea that Shmino and Chance the Rapper were playing off of was random at first to me, but once I really got into it, it really flowed right, and it felt good. So I love how they played with that idea, and I love how they like rapped about it. Yeah, really cool collab between him and Shmino. Really cool track. Like I said, I love the bounce on it too. It's a really good feel good track, so I appreciated it. Alright, y'all, next up is the track Hot Shower. Hot damn hot water, hot shower. Boom, boom. Alright, so this track is frustrating as fuck for me, because it's weird, because I feel like this song knocks, like it fucking bangs, but it still feels dumb as hell at the same time. It's weird. Like if I heard it like outside a party, I'll be knocking, but I'll also be like embarrassed like I'm rocking this because the song feels kind of dumb. You know what it is? I really feel like A+ for the production. The production, that band, I forgot who produced it, but shout out to the production. That shit was fire. The flow, like the vibe of it was just amazing. But I low-key feel like the features like low-key saved the track. Made in TYO, he was cool. I feel like he didn't come through like that, but I really liked his voice for the song. But the Baby snapped as always. The Baby's been killing every feature he's been on recently. The Baby's had a really good year. I loved his verse on this record. It was really dope. Like I said, we're going back to Chance. I really loved Chance's energy and his flow on this record. I love the vibe of it, but I just wish the lyrics weren't as whack and as corny. Like the lyrics feel hella corny to me, but like I feel like you kind of forget about it because the song just knocks. So let me know what y'all think about Hot Shower. I think it's a fucking banger. I just wish the lyrics weren't as like corny and whack. And to me, the Baby snapped and like kind of saved the song. But I think it's amazing. So let me know what y'all think. Next up is the track We Go High. There was some struggles singing vocals at the beginning of this track. I don't know if Chance just didn't have his tea or his water that day, but you know, yeah. Let me stop shading, but no. But besides the struggle singing vocals at the beginning of the track, this track was cool. It wasn't my favorite track off the album. It wasn't my favorite, but it was cool. It was alright. I really feel like I love what he was talking about on this record. I really loved like what he was talking about, and the beat was cool to me. But I think what threw this track off me was the flow. I think the flow was kind of weak, and it just kind of felt like a little boring. Kind of felt like filler to me. But it was cool for what it was. But it just felt like a filler track, so it was alright to me. Alright, y'all, next up we got the track I Got You, Always and Forever, featuring En Vogue, Ari Lennox, and Kiara Sheard. This was a whole R&B and gospel masterpiece. Shout out to everybody involved. I'm so happy to see En Vogue on a major feature in 2019. Shout out to En Vogue, the 90s legends themselves, one of the best R&B girl groups of all time. Shout out to En Vogue. I'm so happy to see them. They sounded great on this record, as did Kiara Sheard. Everybody sang this track down. Shout out to all the singers on this track. All the ladies sounded amazing. I also really loved Chance's vocal on this track too, and I loved his energy on this track. But funny enough in itself, it low-key did feel like Chance was like interrupting like a really dope like R&B track. But I still appreciated him on this track, obviously, because it's on his album. But it felt like this would be like a really dope like R&B song that Chance just kind of interrupted when he was rapping. But like I said, I loved his energy and I loved his flow. So obviously he was welcome on the track. But yeah, man, this is a really dope, a breezy R&B song. I loved it. It's like a really cute dedication to his wife and maybe his daughter too. But this was probably more than almost any other track on the album. I say this was like the track that's like probably like the most like a dedication to his wife and to his new marriage. So I really appreciate it. It was really cute and sweet. So I liked it. Everybody sang the fuck out of it. Next up is the track's Photo Ops skit. I really appreciate this skit for reasons that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but I just really appreciate it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I really appreciate that skit. Next up is the track Rue, featuring his brother Taylor Bennett, who's also a really dope artist as well, and Coco Rosie. I really liked what Chance and his bro did on this record. I kind of wasn't really feeling it at first. I think what I wasn't really feeling was the production. I feel like the production wasn't my favorite on the album, but I really loved the energy on this track between him and his brother, and the bars were dope to me. They were really good, and I just feel like there's a lot to unpack about their like family history on this track. So it's a really deep track and a lot to unpack here. So well, like I said, it wasn't my favorite production, but a really cool track for what it was. I love what they were talking about, just vocally and also just flow wise. I love how they approached this track. I feel like they both just killed it, and I like how they played off of each other too. So it was a cool track. Next up is the track The Big Day, featuring Francis and the Lights. I hate this track and I'm so mad because this is the title track. I'm one of those people that like, I always want the title track to be like one of the best tracks in the album because I feel like it should be. But yeah, I just hate the production on this song, and I just feel like it feels hella corny and unnecessary. I'm disappointed that this is the title track because I feel like it probably to me is like one of the most random tracks on the album, and it really feels like filler. I don't feel like to me it doesn't feel as profound as I think Chance was probably thinking it was in his mind when he put it on the track list. To me, it throws off the album, and it's just it just feels really confused, and I feel like he was able to get his message across about, you know, him being happy about, you know, his marriage and the big day on so many other tracks that I feel like I'm not gonna say this track wasn't needed conceptually, but I would have rather it had different production, and I just would have rather the vibe of it had been different. Like I said, he talked about his marriage on almost every other track, so I feel like this track wasn't necessary for the album, so that's just me. Next up is the track Let's Go on the Run, featuring Knox Fortune. To me, I loved how Chance sounded on this track, but to me, this was also another track that was kind of boring, and it just felt like filler to me, so that's me. Next up is the track Handsome featuring Megan Thee Stallion. Shout out to everybody involved. I really feel like Chance the Rapper and Megan Thee Stallion killed this track. They were just firing on all cylinders. It was an instant highlight for me, one of my favorite tracks off the album. What I really love about this song is like this simple but effective hook and melody. Great hook, simple, classic, good melody, simple but fun, and it sticks in your ear. And I really love, it has that like type of like, perfectly rapped and sung flow that I love from Chance, and also like the perfectly balanced like hard and soft feel that I love from Chance. I feel like I love when Chance sounds like this when he's on his rapping and singing shit, and like when he's like on his hard but also like soft and vulnerable shit at the same time. I love it. I feel like it was a good combo of those vibes, and I like when Chance sounds like this the most, And like I said, Megan killed her verse. Her usual shit these days. She killed her verse talking about her usual shit. Yeah, but everybody was just in a bag with the song. I love this track. Definitely was a highlight for me. I love this song. Next up is the track Big Fish featuring Gucci Mane. I really like this track. It was cool to have, Mr. Gucci Mane himself on this track, big up in, monogamy and marriage. So it's cool to have both of these two kings who are definitely part of the married and, faithful Black Men Association, just talking about that shit on the song. It was really cool. Shout out to Gucci Mane, Chance the Rapper. And yeah, I just really like this song. I really like the beat on that. I feel like the beat was just rocking. The beat was hard as fuck. And the song just rocked. It was really cool. Definitely a highlight for me. And I think the metaphor of him saying like, I was on the line, but now I'm Big Fish. He said something like that, like I'm Big Fish now. I feel like it was kind of corny a little bit, but I'll take it because the whole song was based off of it, and it still worked at the same time. So it was a little corny, but I'll take it because it still worked. So it was definitely a cool track. I liked it. Next up is the track Ballin' Flossin' featuring Shawn Mendes. First off, before I talk about anything else, you already know I'm a Brandy stan to the day I die. Y'all know Brandy's my queen in music, so I was already here for the Brandy sample. I love what Chance did with it. Shout out to Chance for showcasing his love for Brandy. Definitely love the sample. But yeah, man, Shawn Mendes is on this track. As much as I like Shawn Mendes, I just felt like he was kind of random for this track. I just felt like I would rather have somebody else on it because I like Shawn Mendes. I like his music, but it just felt like he was just a random ass feature, and it didn't feel like he fit the song. But his voice still sounded good on it, so I'm not gonna hate that much. I still take it because his voice sounded good on it, but it just felt really random hearing him on it. But that's just me. But yeah, man, what else can I say about this track? I really enjoyed the house like sound on this record. Y'all know, if y'all been long time viewers of me, y'all know I love house music. Like I really love house music. I just love the house, like especially deep house sound. So I always love when Chance bring those type of vibes on his album. Yeah, I really like the production of this song, the feel of it, the vibe of it, the house EDM sound. I really appreciate it. It was a change of pace for the album. And even though that's true, I have to say, because it kind of felt like it was all over the place, it kind of started to feel like a filler track that he just kind of put on the album because he just wanted to have a really fun, zany track that kind of just like, put up, that gave the album some more time. But it's not a bad track, but it did kind of feel a little bit random by like, by the end. You feel like, okay, what did I just listen to? Like, what's this track all about? But it's still a vibe, so it's still cool. I rock with it. But I do kind of wish he did more with it, and I wish it was a little bit longer because I felt like by the time I fully got into it, it was kind of like, oh, okay, it was about to be over. But it's still a cool track for what it is. And like I said, I love the Brandy sample, so it's cool in my book. Next up is the track 4 Quarters in the Black skit. This is a really cool skit. Shout out to, I think his name is Keith Washington, I believe. Y'all know the actor. He's been in plenty of stuff. He's the pastor in Greenleaf. I love him. I think his name is Keith Washington. If that's not his name, I'm very sorry. But yeah, he pretty much was the voice of this skit. I love this skit, and I just love the message of it. So please take in the message. Man, I love what it's getting at. Get rid of all the fake, supporters and like the greedy people in your life who think they know what's best for you. Get rid of all those people in your life, and all the people in your life who think they got shit figured out for you or think they know how you should best live your life. Get rid of them and just do your thing. So I feel like that's what I got from this skit, and it was a great message. So definitely I want to tell y'all the same thing too. But I definitely appreciate this skit. It was a great track. Next up is the track 5-Year Plan featuring Randy Newman. I really like this track, guys. I like the gospel feel of the production. Really cool track. I just love what Chance was talking about on this track. He's pretty much talking about like, his 5-year plan, and he pretty much just getting at the idea of like, being insecure about your 5-year plan or being confident about your 5-year plan and all that stuff. And I'm 25, like I can definitely relate to, all as young people, we definitely can relate to like, whether or not we have our 5, 10, 15-year plan figured out. I'm someone who personally, I like to live my life like really like day by day and more in the present moment, rather than thinking about like the details of my life like 5, 10 years down the road. You know, I definitely think about like generally where I want to be, like generally what I want to be doing, and generally how I want things to go. But in terms of like details, I don't really be on that. But I definitely don't hate anybody who has like details figured out for where we want to be in 5, 10 years. That's cool. But yeah, this is just a really cool track that I got you thinking about, you know, like your 5-year plan from listening to Chance and him talk about his, you know. So really cool track, really creative and inspirational. Like I said, I love the gospel feel in it. And I just loved Randy Newman's vocal on it. I feel like his vocals really brought the track alive and really made it special. So this is a really cool track. I liked it. Next up is the track Get a Bag featuring Callboy. I really like this track. This is also another instant highlight for me off this album. I would love for this track to be a single. Let me know what y'all think, but I feel like this would be a great single for this album, maybe this summer, or maybe even going into next summer. It's just a really cool, like simple, organic, you know, hip hop track that just feels good and it just bangs. And I love Chance's flow on this track. I feel like almost more than any other track on this album, I really feel like Chance's flow was on point on this track. So I would like to see this as a single. And I'm not familiar with Callboy, but I love what he did on this track. So I'd love, you know, all around I think it's just a great track. So let me know what y'all think, but I love this track. Next up is the track Slider On featuring Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj. This is also another instant highlight for me off this album. I freaking love this track. I think what really drew me in about this track was the beat. I love the chill ass but hard ass beat. Shout out to Nate Fox and Pierre Bourne. Y'all killed the beat. But yeah, man, the beat it just drew me in. I love the beat. It's so chill and hard at the same time. I really love this track, y'all. I really feel like it has like a really fun and breezy hook. It's just a really fun hook. Chance killed the hook. He also really did a good job on his verses. His flow was a little bit weird in the middle of his verse, but he picked it up at the end. So he definitely came through on his part. Lil Durk definitely did his thing. His verse wasn't crazy, but he definitely came through and laid off a good verse. He did his thing. And can we talk about the fact that Nicki Minaj snapped on this song? I feel like she just snapped. She had a great verse. I feel like her voice was like great for the beat. It was just great for the record. She definitely did her thing. Yeah, she just killed it. And can we talk about her no Grammy still a GOAT though line? That shit caught me off guard. I was like, and I ooh. When the album came out, I remember I was on Twitter like just, you know, seeing what people saying about the album. And then when people got to that no Grammy still a GOAT though line, there was mad tweets about it. And I remember, yeah, here we go. I found it. There was this one tweet I saw. I don't know if you can see who's in this picture. My fault if you can't really see it. My bad. I don't know what the camera glare is looking like on your side. But if you can't see, I'm gonna name off the artists. These are all artists that have no Grammys. Get ready. Jimi Hendrix, Nicki Minaj, Bob Marley, Katy Perry, Freddie Mercury, Run DMC, Tupac, J. Cole, Snoop Dogg, and Nas. Like, oh, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all know I'm a Grammy head. I'm a Grammy maven. Go check out my Grammy videos if you haven't already. I'm obsessed with the Grammys. But I definitely have a love-hate relationship with the Grammys, and that right there explains why. Like, bro, come on. But shout out to Slider On. Slider On was a great track. Definitely one of my favorite tracks off the album. I just love the vibe of it. It was such a vibe. Just a chill ass, but like hard ass vibe. I loved it. Great track. Next up is the track Sun Come Down. This track was alright to me. It felt like one of the cornier and like more like filler tracks on the album. But the vibe was still nice and I appreciate the message of the song. But it did kind of feel like filler to me. Next up is the track Found a Good One, Single No More featuring SWV. Another set of 90s R&B legends, you know, in the girl group arena. Shout out to SWV, I love them too. I'm loving that 90s, Chance is giving love to all these 90s R&B girl groups. I love it. But yeah, man, I love the gospel and house sound on this track. I love how this track like really beautifully like meshed those two worlds together. Which, you know, I feel like Chance the Rapper is really finding this like signature sound of like mixing, you know, house music and gospel music and like, you know, putting it together in such great ways. So I feel like that's becoming like a signature sound of his and I love it. I think it works. So he definitely did it on this track again and I think he did a great job with it. This is another song about marriage and, you know, another dedication to his wife, like almost every other track on this album, which we'll talk about later. But it was really cool, and I love the way it was arranged and put together. I love the way SWV sung it. They definitely sung it. They definitely sung the hook very well, and they were on point. And I also loved Chance's energy on this track too. And I really feel like his energy and his flow really brought up this track and really made it come alive too. So all around this was a really like hype, really cool track. That was just really like a nice dedication to his wife. So really cool track. Next up is the track Town on the Hill. To me, this is also one of the worst songs on the album. Definitely a filler track. I just wasn't here for this like very sleepy and unnecessary track. But I do appreciate it for like what it was trying to be. I feel like it was trying to be like this like really like profound, like, you know, classical sounding track. So I appreciate what it was trying to be, but I just don't think it was executed right, and I don't really think it fit on the album. It's just a really weird outlier. So for me, this was filler. I don't like it, but let me know what y'all think. But I didn't like this track. Next up is the track Our House, the skit. This is another skit. Shout out to Jackie Harry. I think Jackie Harry was the voice behind the skit. She did her thing. This skit, I don't really have much to say about it. It's just a really cool skit. But shout out to Jackie Harry. Last track on the album is a track called Zanies and Fools featuring Darius Scott and Nicki Minaj. I really like this track. It was really cool, triumphant way to end the project. I love the production on it. I love the way it sounds. It has a really cool sound to it. And it's just, I would say it's a mix of like a lot of different things, you know, conceptually and topics wise, you know, but it's all centering around like love, hope, faith, seizing the moment, but also like leveling up and like prepping for the future as well. So a lot of cool topics that kind of like, you know, summarized the whole album and like wrapped everything up really well. So it was really done in a really cool way. And for the second time, Nicki Minaj snapped again on this verse. She really killed her verse. She snapped again. I like what she did with her verse. And shout out again to the Brandy Love. Like he sampled It's Possible. Y'all know that song off of the Cinderella movie with Brandy and Whitney Houston back in the, you know, the late 90s. It's Possible. So he sampled that track. He sampled that song for this track, and I love the way he sampled it. The sample is dope. I'm always here for more Brandy Love, so I definitely think he did a good job with that sample. And all around, this track really came together really well. It was a really cool way to end up the album, so I really liked it. It was a great track. And that's it for my track by track breakdown. Alright, y'all, so I did my track by track breakdown. Now I'm gonna do my general review of the album and give you my general thoughts on the album. So I'm gonna start off with some good things to start off. I think first off, I definitely want to mention that I love that I'm still getting clear influences from gospel and house in his music. I really feel like Chance loves those two worlds. Like I said before, he loves those two sounds. And not only I'm not only happy that he is bringing those two sounds to the forefront of hip hop, because those are two sounds that hip hop generally doesn't really touch a lot, gospel and house. But also the fact that not only individually, but also the fact that he's bringing them together. He's bringing them together on many tracks, like, you know, Found a Good One, Ballin', Flossin'. Like those are I think one of the tracks at the beginning. All Day Long, like, you know, there are many tracks on this album where he's really bringing you know, the house vibe with the production, but he's also bringing like the gospel vibe with the vocals and the arrangement too, or like, you know, a piano and, you know, like an organ type piano song in the background that just brings it alive. So I really love that he's still working with those clear influences that work for him, and that kind of like I said before, it's kind of really like honing in on this like signature sound of his that I think works for him. So I like that he's still doing that. Another thing I love about this album is that we're still getting the same quirky, but charismatic flow and like high energy from Chance on this album. I really feel like he brought it through with it. Like, you know, Chance has a really interesting, like, you know, quirky, raspy, like alien type voice that just sounds weird, but it works on like, you know, really like, you know, quirky, zany records, and that's pretty much what this whole album is. So I still like that we're still getting that Chance feel on this album. A lot of people don't really like it, but I like that I like the vibe that Chance gives. You know, he makes you feel good. He makes you feel like you can be yourself. He really is just who he is on records, and I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? And also great production throughout this album as well. Shout out to his team of producers. They all killed it. I feel like even songs that really weren't that great, what really helped them out was like the great production behind them. You know, these great beats will really bring a lot of songs that were kind of subpar, and it would just make it come alive. So great production throughout this whole album. The beats were banging, and it really just tuned you. It really drew you in. So pretty much just throughout the whole project, great energy, great production, and I liked what Chance is still bringing with his energy, with his vibe, with his charisma, with his energy. He definitely came through all around. So I definitely like that about this album. Now to get to some of the weaker parts about this album, I think it's obvious that this album, compared to his previous projects, just suffers from what I'd say is a lack of focus and a lot of subpar lyricism. I just feel like a lot of the bars and overall vibe on this album admittedly do feel like kind of basic and kind of elementary and even underwhelming in some places. It kind of just felt like Chance was kind of just like throwing out like the first idea he thought of for every beat that he got, and just recorded the first idea that came to his mind and like stuck with that, instead of like really honing in on like crafting like more like, you know, sophisticated, like more like resonant, like more varied and more complex songs, you know what I'm saying? I feel like even for Chance the Rapper standards, I feel like all these tracks are just kind of like they just kind of come and go, and they don't really feel that impactful. Not every track, but like some tracks feel like that. So I feel like what contributed to that was a lot of subpar lyricism. I feel like Chance the Rapper didn't really push his pen that much on this album. He still had a lot of creative bars, a lot of creative ideas on this album, but I just feel like this was an album that he really wanted to record for more. It felt like he wanted to record it more for fun and more just as a celebration of his marriage and where he's at in his life right now, instead of really pushing his pen to like really come up with like really cool, creative, like deep, like special bars like he has in the past on his past projects, you know what I'm saying? So that's something I feel like I did notice on this album. But even though that's the case, I still feel like there were enough highlights on this album that it didn't make it that grating throughout the whole project, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really feel like he was giving you whack bars throughout the whole project. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about with this album, even though I felt like almost all the features were really good and they were used so well, I do feel like because there was pretty much, like, I feel like there was a feature on almost damn near every track on the album. There was so many features on this album, and like I said, even though they were used well, even though they all sounded great, I feel like because there were so many features, I feel like it kind of drowned out Chance on his own album. And it kind of I feel like it made Chance feel like a feature on his own album throughout many of the tracks, especially the tracks where he only came in for like a little bit. And the thing is, I feel like I kind of get the feeling that Chance the Rapper wanted to make his album like that, because I feel like he wanted this album to really feel like communal as hell. You know, he's in a really communal spirit. He just got married. He wants everybody to know he's happy, you know. But even though I feel like he wanted this album to really feel communal when you hear it, you know, having all these people help him out with different vocals and stuff like that, even though I feel like he wanted like that, I don't feel like your debut album is the album where you like really exercise that desire. I feel like you do that for like, you know, your 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th album. But for your debut album, I don't think that's the album where you just front load it with a bunch of features, because you really wanna, even though we've already gotten projects from Chance in the past, I feel like your debut album technically is the album where you should be like, okay, this is who I am. I'm putting a stamp on like my artistry, my stance, my viewpoint, my vibe, like here you go. So I'm not that mad about it, because like I said, we've already gotten, you know, plenty of Chance projects in the past where he really showed us who he is. But I feel like because this is his debut album, it's like, bro, like I would have had like a few less features on this album for me, but like I said, they were all used pretty well. But I feel like it did tend to drown him out and make him feel like a feature on his own album. So that was a knock for me, but maybe Chance didn't give a fuck, who knows. The other big point I want to talk about is everyone talking about how Chance is just talking about on and on about, you know, him being married on this album. And I have to admit, like, I'm a romantic dude. Like I'm all about, like, you know, romance, monogamy. I'm all about that. Like, I support that type of shit. But it's like, I also agree that I feel like Chance kind of did a little bit too much on this album with him, like, really, you know, going hard for him being, you know, newly married. I have no problem with him. Like, I'm here for the tracks that were dedicated to it, but I feel like he found a way to talk about his new marriage on like every track. And like I said, I don't have a problem. I'm happy for him being new. I'm happy for him and his marriage. I'm happy for him and his wife and his daughter. I love them and I'm happy for him. But I just feel like in terms of what it did for the album, I feel like it kind of was a disservice to the album, because the album really just felt like an advertisement for marriage as opposed to like an actual like project that's really talking about like where Chance is at in his life right now outside of being married. Like, it's like, Chance, we get it, you're married, like, that's cool, you should talk about that and you should be proud of that and you should talk about it, you should rap about it. But it's like, why does it have to be the center point of like every damn track on a 22 track album? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was a little bit too much. It was a little bit it was just a little bit too much of it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know if y'all disagree, if y'all agree, but that's just my opinion. And also, I feel like that kind of ties into the fact that I feel like this album kind of had a lack of focus. He definitely was focused on talking about his marriage, but outside of that, I feel like this album didn't really have any overall concept or overall theme, you know, outside of, you know, like, you know, the big day, his marriage and all that. But outside of that, I don't feel like there was much else that he was really giving us to really like think about on this album. And it kind of suffered, because of that, it kind of suffered from a lack of focus. So that's just me, that's how I feel. And also, it was just way too long. This album was way too long. I feel like this album, like, go back to all the tracks I said were filler tracks, and I feel like he could have probably canceled at least 5 tracks off this album and made it like a no more than 14 to 17 track album. This track shouldn't have been more than an hour, and he could have chopped off a lot of the random tracks off this album, and it would have I feel like it would have been way more presentable as an album. But I wouldn't say this album is trash, but I do think the points I just mentioned are valid. So that's where I'm at with it. But let me know what y'all think below. Alright, y'all, so I'm gonna wrap it up, but the last thing I want to talk about with this album is this obvious dynamic, this obvious thing that's going on where a lot of his older fans, and even newer fans too, are kind of disappointed with this album after all the hype and buildup of it, and because it doesn't really compare to his previous projects. And I agree that I'm definitely in the boat of people who are disappointed. I don't think this album is trash. I'm not in that boat because I think there's plenty of great tracks on this album. Like, you go back to my track by track breakdowns, you'll see the ones I loved. I'll mention my favorite tracks in a minute. But because of the filler and weaker tracks, and because of the lack of focus and this track just being like a whole advertisement for marriage, I feel like I was a little bit let down by the quality, the overall quality of the album. But something that we need to think about is everyone's obviously disappointed coming off of Acid Rap and Coloring Book, and his features, which is fine, I get it. But and while it's no one else's fault that it's no one else's fault besides Chance that this album is not as poignant and as resonant as his past projects, because that's solely on him and his team. It's not any of our faults. But at the same time, I also think we need to realize that it will be hard for almost any artist to step out of the spotlight of projects as acclaimed, back-to-back acclaimed projects like Acid Rap and Coloring Book. Especially when you've been like holding off on putting out a project for years. Like, he hasn't put out a project since 2016. So, I'm not playing devil's advocate for Chance at all, but I also think we do need to realize that it'll be hard for almost any artist in any genre to try and come up with a debut album that exceeds, acclaimed projects from the past. Like, it's hard to do that. Debut or not. I just think it's hard for people to, when an artist has had back-to-back successful albums, so sometimes it kind of happens where they just can't really top the previous projects, and it's not because a lot of people tend to act like the current project is trash, when that's not really the case. It just might not be as good as the previous projects, and I think that's what's going on with Chance's new album. This album isn't trash. There are a lot of trash tracks on it, but overall, I think it's cool. But I think the problem with this album is that it's still living the shadow of Acid Rap and Coloring Book, so a lot of people are just kind of like writing it off. But I think as time goes on, I think we'll realize that this album is not trash. It just wasn't as good as those projects, and that's what we were dealing with when it first came out. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me. So to me, that doesn't make this album a flop at all. It just makes this album somewhat of like I want to say like a transition project that he needed to get off to get like a better idea and more clarity around like what he really wants to do for the next project and how he really wants to step up at bat for the next project. I feel like this is a project that Chance needs to kind of get out to really like figure out like where the fuck he really wants to go for his next album. So I feel like this is a transition album where we're like, he's kind of just figuring out like what he's doing and what's sticking, what's not sticking, what people are liking, what people are not liking, to see how he wants to go from here on out, which I think is okay, because any artist should be able to do that, especially after they've had back-to-back acclaimed albums. So that's just me. But yeah, man, I think this is definitely gonna be a good way for Chance to see where he really needs to go for his next project and what it really needs to feel, look, and sound like. But in the meantime, we have The Big Day. My favorite tracks on this album, there's a lot of tracks on it, but I'd say my favorite tracks are probably All Day Long with John Legend, Eternal with Shmino, Hot Shower. As stupid as the song was, it's a fucking banger. I love it. Low key, it's a guilty pleasure track. Let's see what else we got. I Got You, Always and Forever with En Vogue, Ari Lennox, and Kira Sheard. I love that track. Handsome with Megan Thee Stallion, one of my favorite tracks off the album for sure. Big Fish with Gucci Mane, love that track. And lastly, Get It Back with Callboy and Slide Around with Lil Durk and Nicki Minaj. Those are my favorite tracks off the album. And for my rating for this album, guys, I kind of was going back and forth between two different scores, but I feel comfortable giving this album a 3 out of 5 stars. I feel good with 3 out of 5. I feel like giving it anything less than 3 will be a little bit, like, I feel like it'll be a little bit too harsh in the long run, because I feel like this album is not that bad. But also, I don't feel like this album is anything above a 3 or a 3.5 at all. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. But let me know what y'all think about that rating and what y'all give it down below. Alright y'all, so that's my review for Chance the Rapper's new album, The Big Day. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what y'all thought about the album. I gave y'all my review of all the tracks. I gave y'all my general review. I gave y'all my rating. But now let me know what y'all thought about the album down below. Let me know if you thought the album was amazing, thought it was okay like me, if you thought it was trash. Let me know down below as well. Give me all your thoughts so I can talk with y'all, okay? Appreciate y'all. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do all that and more to help me out, okay? Appreciate y'all. And like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song to make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. Alright, y'all, but this has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thank you for watching, but for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye, y'all.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just have fun.